in Golden State.
We lost.
We
We
lost.
lost, but it was a close game, right?
Because
Yeah.
remember that Iguodala, thing with Larry, how they got clipped, but it was really Iguodala who grabbed Larry's arm.
It was the
and
same
they
bullshit
called
this
it
year.
on-
Remember, Lowry
Yeah.
should have drawn a foul, but they
They
didn't
called it
do
on Larry. And even they called like the over the back on Corey Joseph when it wasn't even
Yeah.
over the back.
The refs are obviously seems to be in on this. So we don't want to say Golden State 21-0. Like we don't want to say like how much longer can they keep
Are you
this
still
up?
using my phone?
Just flash off. Yeah.
You know how I get to the camera?
Oh, just put on airplane. In case someone calls or something, it's gonna cut it off. Alright, start that one up. Alright. Welcome back to another episode of On the Block. We're going to start with the Toronto Raptors, who had a rough week, guys, maybe a week and a half. Lost to some teams that they shouldn't have lost to, and beat some teams they probably shouldn't have beat. The Washington game, Corey Joseph bailed them out. Probably shouldn't have won that game.
Yeah.
Come back with the Phoenix game flat on the back-to-back. Phoenix catches them. And then we had the Atlanta game, where they were down, I think, as much as 18. They put up 33 points at halftime, and they came back and they beat Atlanta in the return for DeMar Carroll to Atlanta. And we followed that up, of course, with the Denver loss with your boy Gallinari going off. Raptors left them open the whole time, and the Golden State won yesterday, which was obviously very tough.
Very tough.
It was Golden State, the most recent one. They were in it right till the end, but obviously the better team ended up winning.
Corey Joseph had that turnover at the end that cost us. I wouldn't say it cost us the game, but we didn't have a chance to really do something. But the whole game they battled. I mean, it was a tough loss. I mean, you would hope that they bring that type of effort in every game, right? It seems like they start to play when they're playing.
Already down, they dig themselves a hole.
Or when it's like one of those top opponents, that's when they really bring their game. It would be nice to see them do that against anyone they play with.
I think that's key. They haven't really bought it game after game, and I think they're thinking too far ahead from the current game with the Raptors. So when we look at a game like Atlanta, we're down 20. We make a huge comeback on the road. Come back the day after, you realize Farid's not playing. You're playing a bottom dweller with Denver.
Yeah.
You're underestimating them.
Right.
They have guys that can score, and if you're gonna try to play 3 quarters, and then or like play 1 quarter at the end, I should say, and not play for the first 3 quarters, any NBA team's gonna have their way with you, right?
That's been a theme for the Raptors. They start off slow in almost every game.
Yeah.
It's the slow starts which kill them. They bury themselves, and also the lack of scoring, which we've talked about. We're still waiting for guys to step up, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Still waiting, and I don't know what's going on with Terrence Ross and Pat Patterson specifically. Both of those guys were. I mean, Terrence Ross was still inconsistent last season, but like he was still making plays and he was contributing, and the same with Pat Patterson as well. And now they're just ghosts. Like
They're not contributing.
And that's the reason why we're like up and down. That and consistent play in the backcourt. I think sometimes one time, DeRozan would be on and Lard would be off. They're never on together.
Yeah.
Like the last game at Golden State,
DeRozan
DeRozan was
was
off.
invincible.
The other game before that, the Denver game, DeRozan was on and Lard was off.
Yeah.
So it's like if DeRozan was on, you probably would have beat Golden State.
And a lot of it comes to JV's injury. I mean, a lot of people undervalue him because with a guy like that going down, Scola stepped up. Patterson, we're still waiting to see what he can provide. Even if it's something similar to last year, he played well against Golden State, but he hasn't had that string of games to get his confidence back up. A lot of it comes down to JV going down because when you have that bench scoring and you take out Lowry and DeRozan for rest, you need a guy you can go to and get the ball in the basket.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the one thing that Casey's lacking with the bench and the rotations that he has is stability. And once we really work around minutes, especially around back-to-back, is having a key bench scoring tandem like we do with our starting 5, right?
Yeah.
So I think that affects us, when we especially on back-to-backs and in certain parts of the fourth quarter. So a lot of times we're playing catch-up at the end of the game.
I think a big thing too is the fact that they're not exactly blowing teams out and that they need to ride their starters for so long.
Yeah.
So when you come to these back-to-backs, you have Lowry, DeRozan, DeMar Carroll, all these guys are playing, at least 35 to 40 minutes a game, and it's tough. Like they're not kids, they're not old vets, but at the same time, everybody needs their breaks because on those back-to-backs, we really see them struggle.
Yeah.
And with all fairness to Casey, he's managed the team well in terms of the minute. The Raptors have had an incredibly hard schedule to start the season. They've had a West Coast trip. They've played Golden State twice.
Cleveland.
They've played, I'd say probably for every one home game they've had, they've probably had 2 road games. It gets a bit easier down the line. Like now they have the Lakers on Monday. Like Casey has to really think, do we want to rest DeRozan and Lowry? Because that's definitely a winnable game. San Antonio on Wednesday is going to be a tough one, so you really want the guys prepared for that game.
Yeah.
So we have a home stretch moving forward in December, so we'll see. We can string some wins together. We haven't been the best at home in terms of our record,
Which has been
but
surprising.
yeah, now is the time to turn it around. We have the fans in Toronto. I think last year we were amazing at home. We have to keep that consistency and win the games we're supposed to win.
Yeah. Golden State, 21-0 now. I don't want to start predicting, asking you guys when they're going to lose the game because they might not. Who knows what's going to happen, right? But they've had some tough opponents too, and teams like Brooklyn and the Raptors have given them some trouble. They go against Brooklyn again tonight. Steph Curry, how long can you keep this up for? He's having even a better season than he did last year, on pace for arguably the best season individually for any player in history.
He said that he thinks Cam Newton's gonna lose. Cam Newton and the Panthers are gonna lose before he does. He said the Warriors are gonna lose prior.
And I think he said that because the Warriors they play more consistently than NFL. They play like once a week, right? So it makes more sense that the Warriors have a bigger chance to lose because they'll be playing while Panthers are just chilling, right? Waiting for their game, right? So other than that, Curry, like I said, man, he's a monster. He's unguardable. Like the stuff that he does, it doesn't matter. When the 3-point line becomes a layup for him, they were showing his pregame routine and the stuff that he's doing, the way how far he's shooting from the 3-point line. By the time he gets it to the line, that's
it's
nothing.
like a free throw for him.
Yeah,
like
going from so far.
Yeah, going to the game, just watching him go through his pregame routine, it's worth admission in itself. You show up early to a game, show up an hour early, and just watch his preparation. It's not by fluke. This guy
does what he does.
He definitely puts in work.
If you look at the numbers are ridiculous. He has a 35.4 PER, which is higher than anyone, and a 70% true field goal average. The 2 people above him are Tyson Chandler and Wilt Chamberlain, who are both big men. For a guard to have a 70% true shooting percentage is absolutely unbelievable. This is a historic season that I've watched basketball my entire life. I don't think I've ever seen MJ or anyone put a season like this.
And the thing that kills me is it doesn't matter what you do. If you blitz the pick and roll, that's what people are trying to do to get the ball out of his hands. You'll find someone. If someone's wide open, they're making you pay for it. It doesn't matter if you attack with a bigger athletic guy or if you put a small guy to guard him. He takes what you give him because you have to give him something.
Yeah.
Right? If you come too close, he'll blow by you. Even though he's not the quickest, he manages to do that. And we all know that he can shoot the lights out better than anybody, maybe in history.
Anywhere he is, he can shoot. It's crazy. I remember I was watching the Charlotte game, and he literally just walked the ball up. I think this was towards the end of the third quarter, where you had 28 in the quarter. He walked the ball up and literally I think it was 6 or 7 steps behind the 3-point line. He just shot it in Kemba's face.
And to have the confidence just to pull that kind of stuff off. Him playing in Charlotte is essentially a home game. That's his hometown. He grew up there. He has a ton of fans there going up North Carolina and Davidson for college. But to see the progression from watching him as a college player who came into the NBA compared to my boy Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, who could play zero defense, but the progression that he's made is absolutely insane. You see him year after year, even on defense. The play that he made, you talked about with Corey Joseph, he forced that play. He forced him to the sideline. You wouldn't have seen that 2-3 years ago from Stephen Curry.
True. That is true.
So you got to give the guy props. He's worked on his weakness, which is defense, and he's become a pretty good defender this year too. The MVP race hasn't been this lopsided in I don't know.
It's been a while. We took a look last night. Looked at the next leading scorer. James Harden was over 29 points, which I thought was surprising, but with the Rockets being a game or so above 500, it's not going to be a race. And unless Golden State suffers some catastrophic injury, which obviously we hope doesn't happen, they're going to run away with the entire the West, the whole home court advantage throughout the playoffs, which leads us to the Spurs, who the Raptors are going to play. So I just wanted to say, the Spurs I think are the one team that, and you said, can give Golden State probably the biggest challenge, and I think maybe the only challenge in the West.
Yeah.
They match up really well
I can
against them.
agree with that. I mean, I'm really disappointed in OKC. I thought they were going to be a better team than what they are right now, especially with Kevin Durant coming back and all the pieces that they added.
You thought they would have been hungrier.
This was
You
the
thought they would have
season.
been hungrier.
Especially after missing out on one game playoffs last year.
Exactly. And this was the season where those pieces were to have like a full season and really,
Yeah.
but like they just haven't been that team that everyone kind of thought they would be, right? So San Antonio definitely is like the team I think that has the only chance of being that.
They have the firepower. They have the defenders.
Yeah. And I think the thing with them is they can match up with Golden State because Golden State have probably one of the most effective fives to end games when they start Curry, Thompson, Barnes, Iguodala at the 4, and then they're playing Draymond Green at center. So we have a guy like Curry who's penetrating at the lane at will because you have to obviously respect the shot. He's dishing out to 4 guys who can make shots and, more importantly, defend all 5 positions.
Yeah.
The thing with the Spurs is I think they can force their hand. They can change things up.
Yeah.
Play matchups that are a little bit more favorable for them. They can add a bit of toughness with David West coming off the bench now, Aldridge and Duncan, and playing these guys are a bit harder for them to defend in terms of size if they slow it down in the half-court playoff.
And I think that in the offensive zone for the Spurs, they'll definitely punish Golden State to have a smaller lineup when you have 2 7-footers like Duncan and Aldridge who can go to work in the post. It's going to be tough for anybody to stop, especially Draymond.
And I think it kind of cancels out offensively because I think both teams can score basically at will. I think it comes down to who's going to end up being a bit grittier on defense and who wins that matchup in terms of really getting to your guys and holding guys accountable for guarding their man, right?
Yeah, and I think even like Kawhi would be like a key piece to that because I think he's probably like one of the only ones who can give Curry some problems.
Definitely.
Like if you think about last season when they played each other, Kawhi strapped him.
It's
unreal.
I think he's the best on-ball defender in the league, especially at the wing position. And he has the lateral movement and quickness, and also the wingspan to contest every shot. Or just contested blocks of shots.
Exactly, right? So
and that's going to give him
that's
the
really what can put San Antonio over the edge against them because they actually have someone that they can put on Curry without a double team. They can just go, hey, guard him, shut him down. And,
X factor.
And he can do that, So that's that. That's why that matchup is so like you don't know who can win no matter how good the Warriors have been playing.
Yeah.
San Antonio is that team that can probably take them all, and I would say a healthy Cleveland team.
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap up right now the West. When we come back, we're gonna get back to the Eastern Conference and how the Eastern Conference has closed the gap a little bit with the West. We return on the block. We had to end it there.
That was way too long, man.
No, well, it was a minute of I think that started a